But somehow I arrived there and parked the car. Getting my anger under control was a very positive thing. My former therapist would approve. She had always accused me of making emotional decisions based on past traumas rather than living in the here and now. She wanted me to give life a chance and see what happened. So I'd stuck with a job at Lexi's gallery for nearly a year. Plenty of time to judge it realistically. Now I could leave the whole humiliating episode behind and explore my alternatives. A new direction for my future would appear, and it would be a wonderful, rewarding adventure. All I had to do was pay attention to the signs. The day I answered the ad in the newspaper, I awoke from a terrible nightmare with an inexplicable feeling of optimism. In the dream, a monster was chasing me, one with long, scary claws who looked a little bit like Lexi. Of course, the last thing I did before turning out the light was update my checkbook. A terrifying task. I should have known better. Shadows swirled in a dark tower, wisping up against my ankles like a ghostly cat. Yellow eyes smoldered as the giant monster oozed toward me with a sucking, scraping sound. Long arms reached out and talons glinted, deadly sharp. Large windows offered escape, but far below, a cliff gave way to dangerous rocks. Then there was a tiny movement against the back of my hair, and I gave in to terror and ran, leaping right out the window. My back tingled from the imminent slashes of those terrible claws as I launched myself onto the wind. Down through the soft air, drifting in a slow-motion spiral like the swollen pink petal that drops from the climbing rose on the garden gate, I fell. It was horrifying and ecstatic at the same time. I didn't rush downwards, but simply floated in a leisurely spiral, with the sun on my face and the soft air buoyant under my back, an effortless, peaceful feeling like swimming in salt water on a balmy day. Then I woke up. My cat, Tree, rubbed his head against my shoulder and looked around my third-floor studio apartment with relief. He blinked at me solemnly with his beautiful green eyes and purred a message of serenity and peace. Obviously, I should trust in my good luck and relax, wait for the new direction to reveal itself. Sunlight was pouring in through the blue skylight overhead, and it looked to be a glorious spring day. Perfect weather for job hunting. Today was the day, and my life was going to change. I tried to have a positive attitude. After dressing conservatively in a black and white checked skirt and crisp white blouse, I blow-dried my wavy brown hair until it looked straight and serious. My face in the mirror seemed pale and tense, but some blusher and lipstick fixed that. Now I felt more confident. Calm blue-gray eyes stared back at me with an expression of resolve. Slinging my bag over my shoulder, I tucked a folder of resumes and newspaper clippings under my arm and headed off. I looked up at the shabby brick building on the corner of Market Street and glanced down at the scrap of paper in my hand. This was the right address. I studied the building curiously. It had good bones, but had definitely seen better days. Ancient ivy snaked up the exterior, parting over the closed front door to show a peak of stonework underneath. The number 33 was just visible, the second 3 missing a nail and hanging askew. Wide steps with wrought iron railings led up to the entrance, where a small faded sign said, "Books and etc. H. Paradis." At 10 o'clock on a weekday morning, the street bustled with people out and about their business. Trucks braked loudly and double-parked to unload goods. A parade of small children dodged between the pedestrians, giggling and hooting. A stately Indian woman wearing a sari pursued them at a more sedate pace, pushing a stroller containing 2 fat-cheeked babies, one with dark skin and one fair. The ad in the newspaper said, "Manager wanted. Retail store with established customers. Library experience a blessing."